Alright, promised a quick video on texture deformers. So I have a few other videos on these, so I just made a plane and I've added lots of subdivisions to it. If you don't have a lot of subdivisions, same thing as the other deformers, it's not going to work really well because there's nothing for my to actually, manipulate. So if you go up to the deform menu and texture, these are my settings if you guys care. I think these are just the default Maya ones, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit apply. By default, nothing happens except we get this little texture deformer handle here in the outliner, same as the other deformers. For this to actually have effect, you have to go in to the texture deformer node in your attribute editor and play with the texture. So if we just slider value this, you'll notice it's like physically moving the plane up and down. These basically work in terms of, think of like a bumper or displacement map, except in this case, 0 is sort of don't do anything. These mostly sort of push things out from the surface. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw in a noise texture, and you'll notice that now the plane is all wiggly and crazy looking. And this is pretty much exactly what we want. So I had that smoothed. This is what it looks like unsmoothed. And you can do some weird stuff. So you can manipulate like the strength of this. If you want, you could set this to like 10 and make it, really insane. I'll do that for now actually because it's kind of funny. And then you can also mess with the offset. So by default, it's set to 0. This is where if you don't want your black to be your bottom point, you can sort of compensate for that here by messing with that value. So if we go in, you can do some interesting stuff, like if you, play with the time of this, you can make a weird sort of rippling water effect, like you can keyframe this. I have a whole video on that, but you can do like, other crazy stuff to get weird textures with these. So that's like, I guess, functionally what these things are. Is basically just deforming your mesh based on a, some kind of texture file. So this also would work if you put in like a ramp texture. This is going to be really dumb looking. So you can, it's actually kind of interesting. I've never really tried to do this before, but so you can make, different like strange lumpy effects like this if you wanted. I have never found a use to do anything with a ramp shader in this, but I guess you could if you wanted to. The other thing is you can map in a file texture to this, which is one of those things where I also don't tend to do a whole heck of a lot, but you can, and it is kind of funny. So I'm just going to show you guys that really fast. With the, let's see, what do I have here? Sure. This is a picture of a guy that I do freelance work for. So you can see that it's actually gone through and it's trying its best to do something with this. With this image, in this case, we just don't have enough resolution in our plane. So if we go into our plane shape somewhere. All right, I'm going to cheat really quick. I'm going to actually go ahead and smooth this mesh, and that is not going to work once you've put the deformer on it. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth that, and dare I do this one more time. All right, so this is going to be extremely computationally intensive, but we have lots of geometry to work with now. Apparently about 160,000 polys. So once again, go to Deform and Texture, and you can see it's operating much more slowly now. Where I, thinking ahead, I could have gone through and, hey, it's a thing. Yeah, so I mean, you can see now it is a picture of a dude and a dude in the rain, and the UVs make no sense for this, but if you ever need to superimpose an image, just based on, basically it converts the image to grayscale and is just like, it's a bump map now, you can do that with a texture deformer if you so choose. I guess other thing probably worth mentioning is these are UV dependent. These are basically, they work just like any other file texture, so you need to actually line up your UVs with whatever you're trying to, like whatever texture you're trying to apply, right? So like if I do this awful thing to these UVs, and my mesh is so dense you just can't see it, but that is actually really questionable that's not working, that should have affected the texture deformer. But anywho, so you can use these for stuff. Mostly I just use it for silly water and things like that.